Yeah, so today we'll be discussing a very important subject pertaining to discrimination. So I think when we talk about discrimination can happen anywhere, whereby maybe someone wants to get some service, could be discriminated, where a certain person wants to do some other things, could be discriminated, even to associate with a certain grouping, could be discriminated, to say, no, you can't join us, or you can't be part and parcel of us. So we can say that person is being discriminated in one way or another. And the discrimination, I think we see it in many aspects. Maybe you can be denied access to some services, or sometimes you can be denied access to education. You can be denied access to many other social services. And we have read about in other countries whereby you might find that maybe black people could be discriminated by the whites, whereby maybe they would be given special classes for them, or maybe could be denied admission into certain schools. Yeah, we have heard those such kind of stories, and maybe in the past it was worse compared to nowadays. But at the end of the day, discrimination is that kind of a disadvantage that you are giving to any person to access certain services, or you are denying an opportunity to someone just because of his or her background, her gender, her age, his or her religion, his or her marital status, his or her disability, ethnic region where he comes from, country where one is coming from, skin color, the type of skin color that someone has, could be certain status, for example, HIV status, for example. Or maybe we know that this particular person has got certain problems or healthy related problems, and we deny them of certain services or certain opportunities. So that's what we call discrimination. So you are denying some other people certain services or certain opportunities just because of their status that they have. It's because of their gender, it's because of their age, because of their religion, because of their marital status, disability, issues related to ethnic region, skin color, and among other factors which we will be able to refer to. So that kind of behavior is what we call now discrimination. And when it comes to the workplace, which is the focus now on this particular video, is now whereby we are saying at the workplace, how do we discriminate other people from getting certain privileges within the organization? It could be these people who are outside the organization or within the organization. So people who are outside the organization, how can they be discriminated? Yeah, who can be discriminated based on recruitment or any other opportunity. Even it could be a service provider, for example. But we are saying we will not be able to do service with us just because you belong to a certain category of people. So you are discriminating someone just because of certain status that particular person has. It could be a status which he can be able to change, but in other cases could be something that he cannot be able to change. For example, gender, whether female or male, he can't change, but you are discriminating that person because of his or her gender. So it becomes very annoying and bad to that particular person when he knows that he has been denied of a certain opportunity just because of his gender. But if we go to the Constitution, you might find that the Constitution, under Section 20, under Section 24, under Section 31, and even under Section 29, it talks that discrimination is not allowed, or it denies an opportunity for one to be discriminated. For example, if you go to Section 20 of the Constitution, it says that any discrimination of any form is prohibited on any kind of a person under the law, regardless of whether they shouldn't be discriminated because of their race, their sex, language, religion, among other factors. So, in short, discrimination is not allowed by the Malawi Constitution under Section 20, but also the same has been referred to in under Section 24, Section 31, and even Section 29. When it comes to the Employment Act, it's very specific under Section 5 of the Employment Act. It also says to say no discrimination is allowed regarding in terms of job opportunities. For example, it could be recruitment, training, or other things. So we shouldn't discriminate each other just because of training or whatever, but we should be able to allow to coexist and be able to recruit people because of how qualified are they. We shouldn't be looking at other parameters. So let's look now how discrimination tends to happen within the workplace. For example, when you are recruiting, we might find that there are certain organizations which, when they are advertising their positions, would say this position is reserved for women. This position, women are encouraged to apply. This position, men are encouraged to apply. So you can be able to look at that to say, okay, is this discrimination or not? Yeah. So such kind of statements could be added to an advert after considering that there is a gap in terms of gender balance, to say maybe the organization doesn't have a lot of women at that particular level of position, or doesn't have a lot of men at that kind of position. So the organization makes a decision to say we should be able to fill that gap. So when you are to fill that gap, you can include in your job advert to say women are encouraged. It means you are preferring to recruit a woman for that particular position after you have done your gender audit. But now, when you have decided to recruit, for example, you want a man to take that particular position, what should you do? You advertise to say men are encouraged to apply, or you can even state to say this position is reserved for men, and you can provide reasons. Yeah, and the discrimination for the sake of affirmative action would be allowed, but you need to indicate in your advert in the first place to say you are looking for a man, because after you have done your gender audit, you have seen that maybe men are poorly represented. Maybe you don't have any man at a senior position, for example, so you decide to recruit a man at that particular senior position. So you should be able to look at that and be able to give that position to a man. So what do? Even at shortlisting, okay, for example, you are looking for a man. Yeah, for argument's sake, you are looking for a man. So why should you shortlist women, for example? If you are looking for a man, after you have done gender audit, why should you shortlist women? Why should you invite a woman? Let's say she's based in Mzuzu, and you're inviting a woman to an interview in Blantyre, where you know that you're looking for a man, and what is the purpose? So you might find you're in an awkward position whereby after interviews, for example, the woman has scored highly during the interviews, and you're saying no, because we are looking for a man, we're going for the person who is number 2 or number 3 or number 4, because we're looking for a man. No, then it becomes a problem, because the interview report is like the one who has got a number 1 should be offered the job. People can argue anyhow, but my point is, if one is number 1, what was the purpose of ranking the people during interviews? The ranking was to get the number 1. So you might wish to know that you might have to, there's another video which I'm discussing about interviews, you might have a passing mark. So for example, if you have got a passing mark which is, for example, for argument's sake, is 70. So you find that there are 4 people who have scored above 70. And the first one is a woman, the second one is a woman, the third one is a man. And now, because you're looking for a man, then you're saying, no, for this position, we're giving it to the man. Then you're making a wrong decision. Because in the first place, why did you invite the women for the such kind of an interview? You could have shortlisted all men for that position. That's now what we're saying. You want to achieve the affirmative action. But by virtue of inviting the ladies, you are now trying to say, all these have got equal opportunity for them to be given the job. You had time to shortlist, so why did you shortlist the others when you know you don't want them, for example? Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, you should have a justification why you want women or why you want a man for those positions or for that particular position. You should have a reason. When you are doing promotion, for example, you should be able to have an affirmative action to say, do you want to promote women or do you want to promote a man, for example? Yeah. So it should be clear in that. So you can use your performance assessments, which can be a basis for promotion. But because the idea is, you shouldn't have just to promote for the sake of what? Promoting. You should promote, because if you promote mediocrity, you find that you also end up being a mediocre organization. But you should have people who should prove to say they are capable of doing the job at hand. And you look also at issues like training, for example. Don't we discriminate people because of training, for example? To say because you are a woman, you want to go for this training, because you come from this region, you want to go for this training, because you belong to this ethnic grouping, you are not joining this organization. Even coming to recruitment, maybe you are a Christian organization, and you find you are saying this position is only applicable to Christians, or the ones to apply should be Christians. Why? Or sometimes you can refer to say born again Christians. Why? Is the job related to preaching and all that? Because if you are looking for someone who is able to preach, you'll be able to state the kind of qualifications or skills that you are looking for. The knowledge of the gospel and the experience in the gospel, the kind of, maybe theological qualification that you are looking for and all that. But you are looking for an accountant. And why should that person be a Christian, for example? So when you are looking for the Christians to fill a certain job, to me, I find it to be wrong. You are looking for a Muslim to fill a job that is not related to the Islamic beliefs. Then, to me, I find it to be wrong. Because we are looking for a certain individual who is going to perform the job, and not specifically who should be preaching there. So this is some of the most important things. You can go to health organizations, for example, could be hospitals, mission hospitals, for example. You might find people belonging to different church backgrounds. They are able to work together because that's at the workplace. They're supposed to coexist. So when you are pressing an advert for a job, there's no need for you to include issues like what? The church background, marital status, for example. Why should you include a marital status when you are recruiting? What has that to do with performance at the job? There are other people who are not married, but they are performers. There are people who are married, but they are not performers. So it doesn't matter. Age. We discriminate people because of their age, for example. No, for this job, we are looking for someone who has got this kind of age limit, who is not above this, who is below this. No, there is no need. Age is one of the issues which the Constitution and even the Employment Act is guarding against, to say you cannot discriminate someone based on his age. So indicating age is not allowed. There are also some organizations who can say, no, you cannot be able to work in this organization if you are married in this organization. That's also wrong. Everyone has got a right to marriage, and he has got the right to marry whom he wants. So working in the same organization, I don't think it can be any problem. So even having an advert to say couples are not allowed to work in this organization, or asking one of the employees who is married in the organization to resign. That's wrong. If it was me, I wouldn't resign and see what would the company going to do. If I am married in this organization, for example, what will the company going to do? I can wait for that day. But I'm not submitting my resignation. I can tell my wife, we are not submitting our resignation letters till we see what the organization is going to do. If they are going to fire me or dismiss me, then we'll see in court. Or one of us, if he is fired, and how are they going to determine we should fire this one? Will they fire the husband or the wife? Why? Are they firing both of us? Why? So this is some of the things that we should be able to consider. But we live in a world where we are just fearing for the unknown to say, I'm going to be discriminated, I'm going to face this or that. There's no justification. Unless maybe if these people are reporting to each other, because maybe they might not be able to discipline each other. Yeah, just like son and brothers could be son and father, a daughter and mother, a daughter and father. Maybe if they're reporting to each other, they could not be, even themselves can feel they're not comfortable to be reporting to each other as a spouse and husband. But at the end of the day, there's no problem with that. If the people are comfortable, they're professionals. So when you are making such kind of decisions to say, no, you should resign because the couples cannot work here. So that's not, to me, a justifiable reason. So whether when you are doing recruitment, training, promotion, let's not focus on one's gender. Let's not focus on one's age. Let's not focus on the marital status of someone. Let's not focus on religion. Let's not focus on disability of someone. Sometimes you find that you go for an interview and you have brought a candidate for an interview and you find one of the candidates is not able to speak, for example. Or maybe he's using a wheelchair and you had already concluded as a panel to say maybe we are not offered the job to this one. And that's discrimination. Or someone has got albinism and you are saying, and you are discriminating. In short, what you're doing is you're discriminating. Is that person not capable to do the right job? Why do you think he is not capable? Okay, let me put it this way. What if one of the employees has now become disabled whilst in the job? Would we fire them? Or will you retire them on medical grounds? Because you need to prove to say, we are retiring you on medical grounds because we feel you cannot be able to manage the job at hand. But have we provided alternative jobs, for example? You could be a driver, has lost one arm. Have we provided alternative jobs? Could be a messenger and still continue working for the organization. Issues of pregnancy, for example, whereby maybe someone is pregnant and you are saying we are terminating your services because you are pregnant. That's immaterial. You will not terminate someone because he is pregnant. People for albinism, how many times are we capable to recruit them, for example? They have got the qualifications. How are we comfortable to recruit them? So these are some of the things that we should be able to manage as an organization to ensure that we are giving equal opportunities to people, regardless of their background, their status, their disability, their marital status, their religion, their age, their gender. Performance appraisals. Do we discriminate each other based on one's gender? Or you find if you are the boss, you are favoring women, or you are favoring the youth in your organization, or you are favoring the men. You should remove such kind of discriminations. Transfer, for example. You're transferring people based on their age, gender, marital status, disability, and all that. That's not very, very important within an organization. Redundancies, terminations. We shouldn't discriminate people because of their gender, age, religion, marital status, disability, among other factors. Let's focus on performance. You're transferring to say this person can work better in this particular. Is it a promotion? Or he has to to resolve a crisis somewhere, but not as punishment, for example. Yeah, maybe as a after someone has done a particular mistake, you can transfer as punishment, but not specifically because of his or her gender. So whenever we're doing your job advice, we're doing terminations, we're doing trainings, we're doing recruitments, we're doing promotions, we're doing performance appraisals, transfers, let's avoid discrimination. Very, very important. Because the Constitution under Section 20, Section 24, Section 31, even to Section 29, guards against what? Discrimination. Including Section 5 of the Employment Act, guards against what? Discrimination. There's one case of Mese Kaunda, I think it was one of the employees at the Togobo Girls. Her husband was working at the same school, but the husband was resigned. So both were working at the same school. So the husband resigned, and now after the resignation, the school started to say, Mr. Kaunda, because you are married to this one and this one has resigned, therefore we are also terminating your services. For no apparent reason. The issues were between the husband and the school. How did this affect the wife? Because you're in the same family and all that. Now they had to terminate. But Tokombo had to pay a lot of money. There's a court case in that regard to say Tokombo what did was unlawful. Wasn't right. Because they had used marital status as if they are one. So these are some of the things that we should also be mindful when we are talking about discrimination. We will not discriminate someone just because of their status, because they are married and because of this one has behaved in this way, therefore it means their husband or their son can also be affected one another. These are some of the important issues that we should be guarding against in light of the discrimination issues and in light of the labor laws that we have in Malawi. So we should be able to avoid any kind of discrimination when it comes to when you are carrying out processes including recruitment, training, performance management, separation management, among other policies, among other processes which we have within the organization. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Like my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to learn a lot of things regarding HR, general administration, entrepreneurship, procurement, among many other general issues. Thank you so much for watching.